What is going on, everyone? This is the Fantasy Aces podcast. I'm your host, Joe Belvaco, and with me we have Sonny Chowdhury, Nathan Holleran, and Mike Hendel. It's a busy week after the Turkey Bowl. We'll give you guys those updates soon, but first of all, let me go over the topics. We're going to do fantasy takeaways and the waiver wire for Week 13, the last week of the regular season for fantasy. We're going to do some starts and sits for Week 13, deep sleepers going into the playoffs, and if you guys have any questions, we'll also answer those at the end of the episode. All right, Nate, how do you feel after that Eagles loss? I mean, we got to talk about it. I needed your kicker, didn't fulfill me to get the win. How you feeling, man?
Well, we had a good thing going when the defense got huge stops right at the goal line, stopped Russell Wilson from scoring. We had a chance to score. And when we did, Jake Elliott misses a field goal. Just
Yep.
totally
Guy
blows the
indeed.
momentum up. Just blows the momentum up right in our faces. We had something going, but that's just a
Mhm.
story. How am I feeling? Utterly disgust. This disgusting feeling. But you know what? It was the Seahawks, but we put up a fight. So I think I'm more upset that we had a chance. There was some light at the end of the tunnel for this game, but
And
then
then it
that
closed.
slowly started to collapse in front of us. Yes.
Sonny, how you feeling, man? You also had a tough loss against the
Uh,
Patriots.
I mean, sadly, we can't all play in the NFC East, so we actually have to win our games to get in. So, it's rough. It was a
That's
rough
true.
weekend, hopefully we can get back on track, but, I'm worried. I'm
Mhm.
really worried.
And Mike, you took a whipping from my 3-7 Falcons. How are you feeling too? I'm the only winning team this week. That never
I mean,
happened.
who would have thought? Wow.
I wouldn't have thought. I thought the Raiders would have beat them by at least 14 points.
Yeah, I don't know. Felt like that game would have been a lot different if there weren't like 100 fumbles by the Raiders. So I'm not. Hopefully they can rebound though against the Jets.
That's true. That's a great team
The
to
last
rebound.
year they got
That's a
thumped
great.
by the Jets.
That's true, but you know what? The Jets are that's just like a Christmas early gift this year.
Thought it was going to be last year. Like last year
That's
they
true.
lost
That's true. That
same
is true.
exact week and they were the same exact record.
If you
And
guys do lose to the Jets, I don't know. I really don't know.
Oh, man.
Wow.
All right. So looking over the Turkey Bowl numbers, Sonny, you are in first with 97 points. Mike's in second with 51, but I believe
that,
Mike's got a couple of players to play in the Wednesday
yeah.
game. So,
Wait,
yeah,
how many
these
points
are
do
good.
I need?
You would need. Well, Sonny also has one player left.
Chase Claypool, baby.
He has Chase Claypool. I believe you have three
Oh, yeah.
players left, so it's going to be close between you two.
How many
Then
points do I need?
Right now you're down by 40. You would probably need like 60 points to have a comfortable win.
Ooh, and I got Lamar Jackson, Gus
Yep.
Edwards,
Gus
Eric
Edwards.
Ebron.
Yep, those three.
And RG3 if Lamar's not going to play, so RG3 technically, right?
And then
I'll
it's
never pick an NFC East team ever again.
true.
Any
And then it's
player.
Nate and me at the bottom, and I'm at the way bottom because Ezekiel Elliott barely had 2 points. So also looking at DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore is 11th in standard, 18 in PPR, and Robbie Anderson is 20th in standard and 15 in PPR. So Robbie Anderson's winning the PPR game. DJ Moore is winning the standard game. We're going to keep updated with that bet because this one's really close, and I like keeping an eye on it because last week or previous couple days ago, Robbie Anderson lit it up with 18 points. So
Yeah, I
it's,
mean, something to
kind
keep
of
an eye
balancing out.
on. DJ Moore went down and left the game. Actually, hopefully
Yep.
everything's all right. But I mean, he did almost
Yeah.
have that massive touchdown too. That Bridgewater just missed him. But I mean, yeah, more importantly, we do have to keep an eye on injury. Extras came back negative, so we'll see how it goes going
They
into the
did
bye.
come back negative. All right, so news rundown. Will Fuller will be out for the rest of the regular season after that awesome performance, so that's just a shot to people who have him. Josh Jacobs should be cleared with a minor ankle sprain. Kind of see, like when he was playing, I kind of saw that he had an ankle problem throughout the whole game, so hopefully that'll be okay.
I've had his backup Booker the whole year.
That's good. That's really good.
I've had him the whole year. I'm not risking that.
That might pay off. And Kiki Kute is the number 2 receiver now for the Texans. So if you guys had him or want to pick him up in the waiver wire, Tavon Austin is on the Packers now. This could hurt MVS or Lazard's output. My guess is more MVS's output. J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram now are eligible versus the Steelers. Sorry, Gus Edwards. Brandon Ayuk is activated from the COVID-19 list. And Dalvin Cook is not expected to miss any time, which is good news for him. And the fantasy owners who have him, because that's probably the reason they have a good record right now.
How long has Tavon been off the team for?
He hasn't been active in a while. I don't remember
Like-
even seeing him play last year.
Because
I
I
remember
know,
on the Cowboys. That's what I remember last.
was he on the was that where he was last? Because I know he was on
Yeah.
the Rams at one point.
Yeah.
He was
He
the
was-
Clemson Cowboys.
The other reason why
gotta
is
look
because
up.
I remember him fumbling a couple times on the kick return against the Eagles. That's just how I remember him. So.
All right.
What was he like the 6th overall pick or something crazy?
He actually was
8th
high. He was
overall
a pretty
pick.
high
He was
guy.
the 8th overall pick.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
Best college mixtape of all time. I mean, if you guys haven't
Oh
seen
my
that, his
God.
highlights.
I think it's so crazy how DK. Speaking about and then
Yeah.
DK was last overall pick in the second round. Like that's insane.
JJ
Yeah.
Arcega-Whiteside, how
Don't remind
is
me.
he doing these
Hey,
days?
I mean, we took Andy Isabella over him too, so I'm right there.
He's
with
still
you.
doing better though. What are you talking about?
That's true. I saw him perform really well against the Patriots.
That
JJ
was-
hasn't seen the field.
That Tavon
Yeah.
Austin was the 8th overall pick in the same draft as DeAndre Hopkins.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
I mean, Tavon
Well, they
Austin,
were-
Billy John Ross. They're
Well,
literally like
they were
carbon
super
copies.
high on both their speeds. It was their speeds that really caught
Yeah.
their team's eye.
Dude,
But-
I hope Henry Ruggs is not the
Oh,
next
the remake.
version of those guys.
I don't know. He
No,
had a
but
decent
Henry
game.
Ruggs has some hops. That's like his
He
saving
does.
grace.
He has
You
the
should
hop
they should be
over
throwing
it. It's
fades
amazing.
to him because you're not putting your biggest guy on him and he can jump out of the building.
I mean, he's
I
opening
agree.
up that field. He's going unnoticed.
Yeah,
might
it's
not
not
show up
like
in the stat sheet, but-
it's not like Avonte Maddox is covering him. So it'd be good for
All
him
right,
to be able to
guys.
get some hops.
Getting into waiver wire for the week 13 and some fantasy takeaways. We're going to start off with Mike. Give us your waiver wire pickups for week 13.
Yeah, so I'm doing quarterbacks. I was looking, I was kind of surprised. I hadn't done quarterbacks before, so I was surprised like how many guys are available that are like really good. Currently, Jared Goff is owned in 49.5% of leagues. He's got a good. The Cardinals actually next week give up the 8th most points to quarterbacks, so I thought their defense was pretty good, but they give up a lot of points. Kirk Cousins is only owned in 20% of leagues, and he has back-to-back 30-plus point games going against the Jaguars. Baker Mayfield's only owned in 20% of leagues. Ryan Fitzpatrick's only owned in 20% of leagues, and they're going against the Titans and Bengals respectively. So, if you are like a quarterback streamer, there's like so many options there. Like I don't even know how to pick one of those guys. Like those are all solid.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I can't believe Kirk Cousins has that low of percentage. I know he started off terrible in the beginning of the season, but after his past few weeks, I would thought his percentage would have went up. But that's pretty shocking to me, actually.
Mike, would you go back to Derek Carr? He's probably going to get dropped in a lot of leagues, but he's got the Jets.
true.
So would you pick him up as a streamer?
No, because the last time the Raiders scored against Denver, they scored like 30 something points, and Derek Carr might have had 11 fantasy points. Like when the Raiders blow out a team, it's because the running game is on fire. Like the Raiders, when they win a game, Derek Carr's numbers are like below average, and like in terms of like amassing statistics. And it's only in those games that like are close or that they, Derek Carr, I love him, but he's not like a fantasy superstar.
Unless he's playing the Chiefs, right?
Unless he's playing the Chiefs, then he's top 5.
He's just insane when he plays the Chiefs. He's a different Derek Carr.
Yeah, you want to know fantasy takeaway? If Derek Carr's playing the Chiefs, you play him. That's the
Unless you have Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah,
That's
Patrick Mahomes, definitely sorry.
All right, going off to Sonny now. What are your waiver wire pickups going into week 13?
Yeah, I mean, so somehow in ESPN leagues, J.K. Dobbins only 49% rostered. I mean, first off, if you can pick him up, this dude is a league winner. I mean, it is so rare to find a league winner in the last week of the regular fantasy season. But if he's available, the last time we saw him, he finally looked like he was taking over that backfield. He had 17 touches, and no other running back had more than 3. So, he had even against Pittsburgh, that's who he plays tomorrow. He had over 113 rushing yards. So I actually see him having another good game again tomorrow night. So He might be really hard to pick up because he'll probably be the first priority on everyone's waivers. But if he's there, grab him. Next up, I know Josh Jacobs is optimistic he'll play, but Mike said it too. I think Devontae Booker has actually looked really good when he's gotten his opportunity. He's looked explosive. And by the way, J.K. Dobbins is back. Him and Ingram are good to go tomorrow, so they should be playing.
Oh, that hurts my Turkey Bowl.
Yeah,
roster.
so I mean, if you got Gus Edwards, I'm sorry, but maybe another time.
Well, yeah, that was different when we recorded
It's
that
okay.
episode.
I was very high on J.D. McKissick, and that didn't turn out well for me.
He's still gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, you guys might as well stop worrying about that. I think I got that wrapped up. But I mean, anyway, Devontae Booker, I will say he has looked good. He's looked explosive, and I mean, the only time he's gotten double-digit carries was in Week 10, where he had 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, if Josh Jacobs is out, I mean, he's a must-start guy. You can roll him out against the Jets. They should have the lead and just plenty of opportunity. If you're not looking for someone to play this week, I think you should pick up Cam Akers as a speculative ad. I still don't know what to trust or make of this backfield, but I mean, he had the most yards, he had a touchdown, and he had that huge 61-yard run. So again, maybe you shouldn't start him, but just keep him on your bench. But if you are looking to start someone, Frank Gore has been getting the touches, he's getting the yards, and he's not going to kill you. So, he saw 20 touches last week. He saw 17 the week before. As long as LaMichael Pirines out, he should do some more work against a pretty easy Raiders run defense. But, Mike brought up another good point. We're seeing all these injuries. So grab your running back handcuffs. The Latavius Murrays, the Alexander Madisons, the Pollards, the Edmonds. Go grab them because you never know when someone's going to get COVID or get an injury and you don't want to get screwed in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. All right, Nate, it is your turn to go into the wide receivers. Give me your waiver wires.
Of course. So I'm going to start with Mike's wide receiver, Henry Ruggs. Listen, he's on the waiver. I know it could be an eye rolling thing for Mike. He's like, wait, Henry Ruggs? He could be the next John Ross in his eyes. But he's still available. And again, if you're like Mike said, if you're a quarterback streamer, maybe you're a wide receiver streamer, he's still available. His stats aren't, the greatest this season. They obviously,
they're not even the goodest.
They're not even the goodest. But if you need a receiver, he had a pretty decent game this past week. So going against a Falcons team who's just surprised, I think, the entire league this past week, which is insane. Of course. But I cannot say the same about the Eagles. Moving on, you said Kiki QT. He's, owned in 0.7 leagues. He should see a much bigger role next game. Yeah, 0.7, but he should see a much bigger role because Will Fuller's now, he's out, for 6 weeks. So
Randall Cobb's out.
Right.
Stills is out.
So, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. So he's obviously going to see more playing time. I had a Jets receiver. Now, why would I pick a Jets? I don't know, but I was looking at it and I was like, Rashad Perriman, he's not too bad. His big playabilities make him, a scoring threat each and every week, despite how bad the Jets are in general. And other than week 15 against, the Rams, the Jets have, exploitable matchups the rest of the way. So Perriman is considered a top wide receiver this week coming into it. And then Gabriel Davis. How many people know who Gabriel Davis is?
Yeah,
I do.
Bill's rookie.
He's really good, man. He is really good.
I want to say he came out of nowhere. He's worked really hard to get to where he's at. Super hard. So Gabriel Davis provided, his second top 20 wide receiver finish in the last 3 games. He went for 79 yards and a touchdown with John Brown on IR. He's a really strong pickup for the home stretch because John Brown with that injury, you have Cole Beasley. You still have Stephon Diggs, but Gabriel Davis, he's good. He's really good. So, if you're wide receiver hungry, you need somebody. If your flex isn't too good, he's the perfect flex spot for you going on into these weeks for an 8-3 Bills team.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I would go as far as in Dynasty, try to trade for this guy. Actually try to get this dude coming into the future, and you probably want him in future years. So I really like that. And don't be afraid to draft a Jets player. Yes, they're a bad team, but this is fantasy football. If you want some target volume, draft a Jets wide receiver. You got to get Crowder. You got to get Perryman. You got to start him because,
Flacco, he's throwing to them.
yeah.
He's doing it.
We had Darnold back last week, actually. So.
Oh yeah, sure. No, that's true.
I
Sam
definitely agree
Darnold.
with
How
those
was
wide receivers.
what was he out with again for that much time?
Was it a shoulder?
Was it his
That what-
shoulder? I don't know, it was
Yeah,
something. But
He's
Joe
been
Flacco
banged
didn't,
up all season. Yeah,
Flacco
I mean,
didn't do too bad.
yeah, I
he
mean that
didn't do too
offense
bad when he
actually
was
looked better. I mean, the offense has actually looked better with Flacco. So
Mhm.
That's weird. That's what was Mike saying? You call Flacco elite?
Well, that was the viral
yeah,
question.
Yeah,
Is Joe Flacco elite? Or
mean,
I
he
guess
did
I
pretty
said, is
good.
Joe Flacco an elite backup?
He looked pretty good despite them still not getting a single win. But
That's true.
I just can't get over. He
looking
looks like Cillian Murphy. Have you guys like looked at him and looked at Cillian Murphy, the actor? No,
No.
Not?
No, I've
This is
not.
only okay. Well, do it sometime. Cillian
I'll look
Murphy.
at it. All right. Looking at tight end waivers for week 13, I was kind of hesitant on doing a Colts tight end, but I think it's cut clear. This is going to be the guy during the playoffs, and that's Trey Burton. Only in 25% of leagues, they're actively using this guy, even in like triple formations. In the next 3 weeks, he's going to be playing against the Texans, who could not guard Hawkinson for the life of them. I mean, the guy went off on Thanksgiving, and he's a red zone machine. This guy even gets some rushing touchdowns. So if you want some touchdown output, it could be Trey Burton. And I'm also going to go with Dalton Schultz. The guy's only rostered in 25% of leagues as well. He's not as touchdown dependent, but he has a lot of target share, and he's on the field a lot compared to Trey Burton. So I believe that he will have a good output. He's got Cincy and Philly coming up, who are known to give up tight end fantasy points. So I'm going to go with Dalton Schultz as my other tight end waiver. I'm saying don't go with Kyle Rudolph just because the reason that he did so well is because Adam Thielen was out. I think his output's going to change once Adam Thielen gets back in the lineup. So I'm not really moving on Rudolph. All right.
yeah,
We're gonna
Joe.
go with our-
I was also going to
Yeah.
say that he's actually been pretty productive the last 2 weeks, and I think it's mainly because Irv Smith's been out. So if you find out that Irv Smith isn't playing this coming week, then would you be interested at all? If you hear anything,
It's too game plan dependent because even
'Cause-
when both of them were there, it's not like Irv Smith was lighting the world on fire. And the
Well, I'm
first
saying-
8 weeks of the season, neither tight end was doing anything. So it's I don't know.
I mean, I'm
I'm
saying
not into it.
me personally, if I found out Irv Smith wasn't playing, I think he would shoot to the top of my streamer tight ends. But if Irv Smith's there, I'm not interested in either of them. But then the other guy I want to talk about is Jordan Akins, because I mean, we know someone's going to take advantage of Will Fuller leaving, and I mean, he almost had 2 touchdowns, one that he dropped on Thanksgiving. So like, maybe he carved out a bigger role. I mean, you still got Deshaun Watson throwing him the ball, so I don't know what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah, no, Jordan Akins, yeah, he definitely could be another tight end pickup. I actually didn't really think about that one. When I see output, and I was really watching the Colts Titans game, and Trey Burton was completely involved in that offense, and he also dropped a couple passes too, so he could add even more points. I just think that they're going to start using him more, especially in the play action pass. So I'm going to have to go Trey Burton as my number one guy, and then Dalton Schultz. We'll see with Akins. I just really think you could be right just because Will Fuller's out, but we'll see how that goes. All right. So we're going to go with start and sits for week 13. We're going to start off with Nate. All right, Nate. For each position, if you want to run down really quickly, just for quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, give me a start and a sit for week 13.
All right, so Derek Carr, start. He plays against the Jets. There's really nothing to be said there. I know Mike is like, well, we lost to the Jets. Well, you shouldn't lose now. They're hungry after, a loss, so they're going to a huge loss. So they're going to be looking to bounce back against the Jets. And I would sit at quarterback Carson Wentz because if you have Carson Wentz playing, which somebody in our league does, though he only gave up, he did give 18 points. Carson Wentz he has a horrible coach. He has no wide receivers that actually want to play. It's a very sad day. It's not sunny in Philadelphia. I'm going to go with running back Nick Chubb to start. He's been super consistent coming back from the injury that took him out for a lot of the season. He seems to progress every game, put up 23 points in fantasy. And then I would sit JD McKissick. I thought it was going to be more of a balanced backfield between J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson, which is not. Antonio Gibson obviously seems to be getting more of the carries, and he seems to be the main man there. As I thought they were, again, splitting it, even though J.D. could be used as a passing option, but Antonio Gibson showed why he's the main man. Starting at wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, the dude is phenomenal. I mean, he's like probably the only exciting player to watch on the Vikings. This past week, going for 70 yards and 2 TDs against Carolina, which was a huge, very close game. If anyone watched it, and then let's start Deebo Samuel. I mean, he's a solid flex player, and I know he doesn't start so much, especially when Brandon Ayuk can play because they like how he plays too, how quick he is, his agility, everything, his catching ability. But he's going against the Buffalo team who's 8-3. They're looking to take over the AFC East. I mean, it's going to be a not a crap show for Deebo, but I don't think beating the Rams was something magical because I don't know what's going on with the Rams. And a tight end, I'm going with TJ Hawkinson. I mean, he played against, he's going against a messy Bears team that has struggled to cover anyone this season. They just gave up a ton of points this past week. So they took a big loss, against Houston, but he gave up 8.9 points. There's not many great, tight ends in this league that you can say are solid, but TJ Hawkinson is. And I just wouldn't start Rudolph. He just hasn't been the guy this year for the Vikings, and except Justin again, and not what they need him to be. So that is going to be my starts and sits.
Nice. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. We are going to go now to Sonny. Give us your start and sits for each position going into Week 13.
Yeah, so starting at quarterback, I would be willing to go back to Taysom Hill. We saw him dominate the Falcons in his starting debut. He has a safe floor. He's at over 44 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in both of his starts. So I think, again, he should be able to have another good performance against the Falcons. Not buying into what they did last week. I think it was fluky. I'm actually really worried about Josh Allen. Josh Allen has not looked good without John Brown. And with John Brown on IR again, I think he's going to struggle against a 49ers defense that kept Goff in check, held him to under 200 passing yards, no touchdowns, and 3 turnovers. So I'm pretty worried about Josh Allen this weekend. Start, my guy J.K. Dobbins. Dallas has been terrible against running backs, and they gave up over 100 yards to Antonio Gibson twice now, a rookie, and then he torched him for 3 touchdowns, had another touchdown in his last performance. So I think, this rookie J.K. Dobbins is going to have another huge performance against Dallas. I would actually sit Wayne Gallman. He's been doing well recently, and, he's looked good and everything. But, I mean, he has Seattle, and Seattle has actually been a pretty solid run defense. I mean, they held Miles Sanders to 15 rushing yards last night. So, you can exploit their secondary, but I don't know with the backup quarterback. I don't know how much they're going to be able to move on the field, and you can't trust Gallman to score any touchdowns either, which he's been fairly touchdown reliant. Starts Michael Pittman. I'm going back to him. He had 3 great games, 3 great fantasy games, leading the team in yards, and then he had a disappointing performance. But he did get 9 targets in his last game, and now he goes up against a favorable Texan secondary, who also lost their top cornerback, Bradley Roby. Him and Fuller both out for the rest of the season. So I think as long as Pittman's getting the targets, I think he should finally see another big game as long as Rivers throws it to him. And Sid's actually T. Higgins. I hate to say it because, I'm a huge fan of him. He's been amazing. But, we got Brandon Allen throwing you the ball. I mean, you look at the box score, he got a touchdown. He was saved by the touchdown, but he really wasn't productive for much of the game. So I can't feel comfortable starting any Bengals receiver. And then for tight ends, I'm cool with starting Austin Hooper. He had his first touchdown in the first game back, which wasn't, raining. So we saw him, he's always there to find the end zone. And now he faces the Titans, who've given up 7 touchdowns this year. So, Hooper has a great chance to reach the end zone again. And I'm sitting Logan Thomas. And again, he's coming off a pretty good game against the Cowboys, but now he faces probably the best defense in the league against the Steelers. And, I don't know how you can feel comfortable starting him. So I'm staying away from him this week.
All right, I'm interested. So you're picking Pittman over T.Y. Hilton. Do you not have any faith in T.Y. Hilton after the performance?
Oh no, I'm not buying into that. I think he finally had a good game, but I mean, he's washed. He's old. I just
Oh.
can't feel comfortable. I just can't feel comfortable starting people.
Was that as bad as when I called AJ Green washed and old? And
I mean,
it's
they're on the
bad.
same
Is that as
boat.
bad
You
as-
just can't. You just can't feel comfortable starting either of them. I mean, but
Well,
I'm all in
definitely,
on Pittman.
yeah.
I'm all in on Pittman. You know, I think again the 9 targets were encouraging. The Texans' defense is horrible, and I mean, I just see an offensive shootout. When you go against Watson, you got to put up points, and I think Pittman's gonna have a big day.
All right. Pittman, you know, he really failed me. I didn't actually start him this past week, but hopefully you are right. I'm kind of
I will
surprised.
say one thing
him.
though. You know what shocked me? Nate said that he would sit Deebo Samuel, and I'm sorry, but I think he is a must start. Here and out. Like I don't know how you can sit Deebo Samuel. So I had to bring that one up. But again, I will take my shot with Michael Pittman, who I'm personally starting this week in the league too.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Deebo Samuel and I think Brandon Ayuk are going to be the guys. Richie James might get less time, but maybe he'll get some reps.
Well, isn't Deebo still dealing with some type of light injury?
Doesn't look like it.
I mean, if he is, I mean, I couldn't tell because what was it? He had.
I think he's a great wide receiver, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially going against the Bills. I mean,
that defense hasn't been too. I don't know.
All right.
Not the greatest, but we'll see.
I'll get to my start and sits, and then we'll get to Mike. So for quarterback, I'm going to start Ryan Fitzpatrick. The guy in a defensively stout game had 260 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I
really think he. Huh?
Oh, we don't know yet. I would expect.
I think I just saw it. Didn't it just come across like an hour ago?
Did it really? The man's got a finger injury. I thought he was going to be out for more than just a.
I thought they expect to see him. I'll look at it right now. Keep talking. I'll look at it right now.
If he's not playing, definitely start Ryan Fitzpatrick because I really think he could get 3 touchdowns and about 20 fantasy points against Cincinnati. Justin Herbert's actually going to be my sit. We just saw how the Patriots just shut down Kyler Murray. Like, Kyler Murray is amazing, and he got shut down by the Patriots defense. I expect the same thing's going to happen with Herbert. Listen, he only got 16.5 points against the Bills. Probably not his best performance. And now that they have Eckler back, I think they're becoming really safe with just doing dump passes to him, and they might run the offense through Eckler instead of now through more of the passing game, especially against the Patriots, who will shut down their wide receivers. But when we go to running backs, I'm saying start Eckler. The man is back. I don't care if he came off an injury. The guy had 16 targets, 11 receptions. They can just dump the ball off to him all they want. So I really think you should start Austin Eckler this week. And I'm going to sit Alvin Kamara. Ever since Taysom Hill became the quarterback, I don't know what's going on with the production for Alvin Kamara. I'm not blaming him. The guy's amazing. It's just
if he's on your team, are you really sitting Alvin Kamara though?
Yeah, no, I'm sitting him.
I don't have the balls to do that.
Yeah.
No, his stats, he got like what, 6.2 points?
Even so,
I mean, I'm with Mike.
Under 10 points.
I mean, unless I have like Austin Eckler and James Robinson, maybe, then I'd like that's different. But I mean,
all right.
Well, yeah, if you have a solid backup to put him in, of course, to replace him with. But like, Taysom Hill the past couple weeks has just been no Alvin Kamara all
no, I agree, but I think if the Falcons offense shows up, that's what it really comes down to because he hasn't been needing to throw the ball. So once he gets in a negative game script, I mean, they'll have to rely on him a lot more.
Yeah, I'm getting spicy with it. I don't want to do something that's completely, everyone definitely is going, oh, well, yeah, you got to start and set this guy. But I'm going with someone people might not agree with. The Falcons are doing great at shutting down running backs. They shut down Josh Jacobs really well. I mean, Alvin Kamara didn't get a reception against the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to have a game plan. And then also Latavius Murray's been the guy right now. He's been the hot hand. So I think, reps are going to be shared. And then when we're getting to wide receiver, Nate, you talked about him for a waiver wire pickup. I'm saying you're going to start him this week with Gabriel Davis. I think the guy is just completely amazing with Brown out. It's someone people might not necessarily pick on. He's going to be a waiver wire pickup. Might as well start him this week. And I think his production is going to be really well. And I'm going to say sit Allen Lazard. If he did not score that 1 touchdown against the Bears, he would be under 10 points. He really didn't get that many targets. He really didn't get that many receptions. And then they're also going to be playing against the Eagles. The Eagles absolutely shut down Lockett. So I think that it's going to be more of a ground and pound game with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. I would sit Allen Lazard. And if I had to pick a tight end to start and sit, I'm saying start Trey Burton. This guy's really, flourishing right now. And I'm saying sit Jonnu Smith. The guy is completely inconsistent. Some weeks he does well. Some weeks he gets 0 points. If I'm trying to get in the playoffs and I want a consistent tight end, I'm not going to pick a guy that some weeks gets 0 points. So I'm going to say you got to sit Jonnu Smith. But that is it for my starts and sits. And now we're going to get to Mike.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to try and go fast and go with guys that weren't already said, which a couple of them were, like Lazard. You can't really play him right now. But for quarterbacks, I'm sitting Derek Carr, even though it's against the Jets. I think Derek Carr is an amazing quarterback, probably the second best quarterback in the league. But just fantasy-wise numbers, he's not going to put them up. Because they're a running team, and against the Jets, they'll probably run it 35 times, hopefully. If Lamar Jackson's coming back, though, if he gets cleared to play against Dallas, that's yummy. I know
yummy.
People probably were frustrated if they drafted Lamar Jackson this year, but I mean, if he's going against Dallas, I'm interested. Running backs, I got 2 sits, and it's Duke Johnson. Even though he scored last week, he's had this opportunity handed to him on this platter, fantasy-wise. And, I mean, I started him, both of the weeks before and not on Thanksgiving. And both those weeks before, he got less than 7 points each time. On Thanksgiving, he squirred out a touchdown. I don't trust it. And then DeAndre,
Mike.
I'm sitting DeAndre Swift because the Bears only gave up 10 to Aaron Jones, 15 to Cook, 6.5 to Henry, and also Swift's fighting a concussion. So I am gonna sit him if you can. I guess if you can't, then you wouldn't. If you don't have any backups, then you can't. But if you can afford to, I would do it. I'm sitting Amari Cooper, but I would anyway. But he's going against Dallas and he is Dallas. He's going against the Ravens. But yeah, no, I'm sitting him. I just don't believe in him. I know he had a crazy game on Thanksgiving, but it's probably just because I'm a Raiders fan and he's gone off the team. I'm still starting Chase Claypool every week. He just feels like he's so consistent now. And which is awesome, and he's huge, and the weather's getting colder, and he's huge. And then with tight ends, I'm sitting Jared Cook. That's probably a no-brainer at this point, but it's not happening right now. Even though he's a great player, former Raider that I love. But I'm sitting him. And then I'm starting Noah Fant, but you probably already are. But just every week, I mean, even if the Broncos have a quarterback who's at least played quarterback before, I think Noah Fant is a go.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only person that caught a pass last week.
Right. So right.
I
think he's a go. Unless they don't have a quarterback playing.
Don't be mean to this guy. He had no choice.
He came in.
But if they do, I'm into Fant.
If that game didn't define 2020, then I don't know what did. We had
that game. That made me mad that they let that game go on.
Well,
and then we got the Ravens.
We got
the Ravens, and then we got the Ravens all the way.
Yeah, the Ravens. It was also the Ravens' fault for not being sick. It was the strength and conditioning coach for them, and then it was but they didn't shut down. I don't know. That wasn't too nice.
I don't understand why the Ravens are being rewarded for having more of an outbreak when the Broncos only had their quarterback room. You know what I mean? It's they had the outbreak, but they somehow get rewarded by getting their game postponed.
A lot of the offense is out.
There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of theories on why this is.
I mean, we could get into all of that.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I just don't like how they just continue to let the game happen, knowing the position they were in. Even though it was their fault, so was the Ravens. Yeah. But, who knows?
And with that being said, I'm just thankful we have a season. So.
Yeah, seriously. I don't want to complain.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, as a fan, I'm all in on watching football.
just
so.
to make fun of Tom Brady a little bit,
Oh,
the Saints had the same score with the Broncos when they didn't have a quarterback, and they had about the same score with Tom Brady when he was quarterback for the Bucks. So
Wow.
I don't know. I was so high on Tom
that
Brady coming into this year. Me and Mike were pretty high on Tom Brady going into it with the weapons he had, and now all of a sudden, I don't know. Oh
He had a
for, oh
good-
He scored a lot last week. He had a
Yeah, he
good
had,
game.
he had a
of
good
course, he's
fantasy game.
definitely, but he
Yeah.
wasn't the Tom Brady I was expecting to be this year with all the weapons he needed. So
I don't know who was announcing that game, but they made a perfect analysis that Tom Brady's still not on key with his wide receivers, and him and Mike Evans were just having discussions about like, dude, you should have been cutting there instead of staying free. And the announcer made a complete sense of it, saying that these wide receivers still don't know Tom Brady's game plan. So I agree with that. I honestly agree with
and
that.
Bruce
They're
Arians
not on
still
chemistry.
brings
Was it on
Bruce.
Fox? It was probably Troy Aikman.
It was Romo.
No,
It was
it's not
Romo.
Oh, was
Romo.
it?
Yeah,
Wait,
Was it
Romo.
Romo?
Oh,
Wow.
right. It was in
Romo?
Tampa, so it was a CBS gets AFC on the road most of the time. So yeah, that would have been.
Yeah,
true.
I don't know. That was
But the chemistry's
Uh,
not there. I still don't think the chemistry's there.
and even his head coach still talks about him to the media sometimes when he's mad.
Mhm.
Uh,
All right. We are going to now do our deep sleepers for the playoffs. List of sleeper you believe from this schedule on and their projections will make a difference in the playoffs. We're gonna start off with Mike. Give me your deep, deep sleeper.
all right. Well, I don't know. I don't know how deep these are. They're regular depth, but the Browns defense, they've all been pretty great if you've had them the last few weeks, except for this last week where they had 0 points. But they get the Jets and the Giants in weeks 15 and 16, and that's something I love to look forward to when I don't have the Steelers defense. I usually am just picking up one every week. But around this time, I try and thin my bench a little bit and pick up the defenses I'm going to play during the playoffs so people can't do that to me. And so if you can get the Browns playing the Jets and the Giants, that's a-okay. And then you like this guy, I know Sonny's high on him and we've talked about him a lot. Michael Pittman is really good, and you're deciding each week whether to play him or not. Maybe you usually are playing him. Last week he didn't have a ton of points, but man, in the playoffs he's got Raiders, Texans, and Steelers. I feel like those games could all be shootouts, and that's spicy, man. That is spicy. So I'm if I have Michael Pittman, I'm kind of confident in lining it up. Those are my two.
I really like that. I do like Pittman a lot. And sorry for the emphasis on deep. I mean deep as in looking into the future for the playoffs, not necessarily the bench and how deep you can go on the bench. But I really like Pittman. I really hope he does well. I don't think T.Y. Hilton's the guy, like Sonny said. So based off that schedule, that's a really good one. All right, Sonny, give me your deep sleeper for the playoffs.
Deep.
Deep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another defense also we can talk about the Seahawks defense. I mean, they've looked good recently. Like, we made fun of them a lot through the whole season, but I mean, against the Rams and Cardinals, they held them to 20 something points. Last night they looked good. I mean, it was Philly, but then you got the Giants with the backup quarterback. I mean, you got the winless Jets who don't even care about winning, and then you got the Washington football team. So that's a great schedule coming up. Really glad Mike brought up Pittman because he does have a great schedule. But another guy I want to talk about, I think Matt Stafford is someone that you can actually go after. Because here's the thing, I mean, you start Kyler this week, but I mean he's dealing with that shoulder injury, and what if that's serious? You got Josh Allen, who's got the Niners, who I put as the sit of the week, and he's got Pittsburgh after that, and then all these streaming quarterbacks. Matt Stafford still doesn't have Kenny Galladay, who should be coming back soon, hopefully.
Yep.
I mean, he even liked that tweet about Matt Patricia getting fired. So, we're all tired.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
So, with Matt Patricia gone, I really think the Lions offense takes a turn for the better, and they finally let Stafford air it out a lot more. And then his schedule coming up, he's got Green Bay, Tennessee, Tampa, who Mahomes torched, and then the Vikings. So I really think when Galladay comes back, the opposite is going to look a lot better. So I think you should keep an eye on Stafford. And then one more guy, Nate mentioned him earlier, is Kiki QT. Someone is going to be the beneficiary of Will Fuller leaving. And again, Deshaun Watson is playing at an MVP level. And, I really think that he has the chance to, like, who knows? Maybe he's nothing, maybe he's something. But I really think he could be, a viable fantasy option. And he's got, again, a top 5 quarterback throwing to him.
Kiki could be a very good one. He drops passes here and there, but if he finally catches the ones that count, that could be a good one. Nate, give us your deep sleepers for the playoffs.
Yeah, again, like Mike said, this isn't, deep. This isn't going to be like death-wise, but I mean, people are like, with his schedule coming up, he's a running back. His name's Wayne Gallman. I know people are like, well, look at the schedule. He's playing the Seahawks, and then he has the Cardinals, and then the Browns, and then the Ravens, and then the Cowboys. I mean, not the Cowboys. Can't really count them as a hard schedule, but if, and this is a big if, but I truly believe because he put up pretty good numbers, if I'm not mistaken, against Tampa Bay. I put up 12.22 points against Tampa Bay. Isn't the greatest, but isn't the worst. This guy has been a solid running back ever since Saquon especially got injured. Took him to about week 7 to really get it going in that offensive scheme that they had a lot of problems with. Again, it's an NFC's team, so there's a lot of issues going on. But Wayne Gallman has been just personally for me a great running back. I have him. I've had him starting. He's my number 2 spot right under, Nick Chubb. I love this guy. I really think he could be something great for the Giants going forward. So, I mean, if you have him, keep him in there, trust him, watch this game against the Seahawks, see what happens. And if it is, I'll take my word back. If he can't perform, again, they do have an iffy offensive line, but Wayne Gallman has proved to be, you see him get that ball. That guy goes. He bursts right into that line and he explodes. The guy is good. So let's see if he can do what Miles Sanders couldn't and get more yards. So
yeah. The thing with I really like Gallman, but the man has to get a touchdown in order to be fantasy relevant. I've noticed. So you have to bank on that touchdown if you want him to perform.
Absolutely.
And
there's a reason that there's a reason that he keeps getting touchdowns though. Their offense is not like they're not it's not that they're super bad, it's just that they're designed to run straight down in the red zone, and they're not designed to score passing touchdowns in the red zone.
I mean, how many red zone opportunities?
He had 94 yards. He had 94 yards and a touchdown.
How many red zone opportunities do you expect with Colt McCoy under center? I mean, that's why I'd be hesitant to playing him this week personally. Like, I don't know how you could play him this week personally, but
they could run the ball more. That's the only exception.
That's what I'm thinking. The only exception, they could run the ball more. I don't see huge, plays by Colt McCoy.
Hey, man, Colt McCoy has the 3rd most wins in history in college.
That's true. You know what? And he was pretty good when he was on the football team, the Washington football team. When he played, he was actually pretty good.
When he was in college football.
What's
that?
Yeah, it was
about 10 years ago.
Oh, well, at least.
Hey, I mean, you know who else was good in college? Tim Tebow. What's he doing now?
That was a while ago.
You know who else was good in college? Vince Young. What is he doing?
What? You know who? The top 3. The top 3 is hilarious, but also you know who's in the top 3 for wins all time as a quarterback? The Cowboys' offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore.
Hey, I mean that could be their next. That could be their next head coach next year. I mean,
I remember when he played. I remember.
I do have a question to ask you guys, and this to the viewers for advice here. What's going to happen with the Colts running back situation once Jonathan Taylor comes back? Who is your guy? Because this keeps happening, and we got to know what we're going to do for the playoffs.
Marlon Mack is coming back in next season, right?
Oh, we're talking about the playoffs.
He's going to be a free agent. I see him leaving.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor should be back this week. I'm not starting him at all. If Jonathan Taylor does miss again, I know it was a close contact. If he misses again, I would start Hines. But if he comes back, I just can't start any of them, honestly.
But then Jordan Wilkins, he started
exactly. Exactly.
I'm like, what is going on with the Colts?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Pittman is the only person on the team I'm playing.
They are probably,
it's a fantasy nightmare.
They are probably the the best comparison is probably the New England Patriots running back situation. That's the best comparison.
Or the
I'm giving.
Rams.
Oh,
I mean, the
Damian
Rams
Harris.
have
Or
to
the
go
Rams. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of teams
Yeah.
this year, a consistent amount that have been dealing with running back injuries
Yeah.
or
So
just
again,
bad running backs.
If Taylor misses, I think it's easy. You roll out Hines. If not, I stay away from all three.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I guess I'll get to my deep sleepers. Not so really like bench wise, but just looking ahead in the schedule. Tennessee Titans are a different team once they get closer to their actual playoffs, and I'm going with Corey Davis. The way they utilize him in the play action is actually unreal. Like if Derrick Henry's doing really well, expect Corey Davis to do well because he's the guy that goes out for the play action pass. They got Detroit, Green Bay, and the Jags. The previous 4 weeks, they had the Ravens, the Bears, and the Colts twice. Were really good pass defenses. So I think things are going to change. I think he's going to get more output. He could be a really nice guy to have. And I'm saying either him or AJ Brown. You guys, you got to start him, either one in the playoffs. So I would definitely pick those two. And then if you kept Raheem Mostert, good job because I think he's going to be a deep sleeper for the playoffs too. He wasn't his full production against the Rams, but I think he will definitely get it going against Washington, Dallas, and Arizona. Those are his playoff opponents. The guy did really good a year ago from about around this time where he lit it up in the running game. So I think Raheem Mostert will also be a good deep sleeper. We just gotta hope that he stays healthy. But that is my deep sleepers. And that is it for that. And I believe that is all we have for our episode today, unless there are any questions from the viewers for our fantasy mailbag. But if not, that is all we have for today. I will keep you guys updated on Twitter for the Turkey Bowl rankings, but listen to us on Facebook and YouTube Live. Also follow us on Inside the Hashes. Check out our Insta and Twitter accounts at Inside Hashes. Also check out our website where you can listen to our other podcasts, Air It Out or the RPO podcast. And we will see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Thank you to our viewers out there. I really hope that you guys make the playoffs. It's going to be a tight race, very hard season, and stay safe out there.
Bye.
Peace.
Go Birds.